All right, we back. Hopefully we got it's better now. Let's go. Bear with us. Yeah. What up? What up? What
Yo,
up?
yo, I made it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I had to go through some passwords and all that.
Man, they was giving us difficulty, I think, because of the title that I had at first.
So it wasn't all on me.
Nah, it was me and Tommy. Yeah, it was
Uh,
all three of us.
I thought it was me.
Nah, man, my whole system was acting straight crazy. And it just came back together now. So it wasn't you, just
Not
you.
the G bodies, man.
Hey man, we just I just did a couple of plaques and come back, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we don't have vibrations. You know, they can't stop. They'll try.
Peace, peace.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What's goody?
Yeah.
I still got a little delay, I see.
Yeah, just a little bit probably.
It's good though.
Yeah.
Let's get
So
to
I got a lot of information to share, bro.
it. Uh-huh.
We're gonna get deep into it tonight. Give it a little bit, even if we get one person on, we good.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. I mean, like Flynn.
It's good.
So dealing with senses, huh?
yeah, we're gonna deal with the senses, how many are there, how we can improve our lifestyle and community with understanding them. You know, um, yeah, we just gonna dig deep into it tonight, bro.
You know, I don't think it's a number of senses.
Hmm.
I mean, that we gonna talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that's us being egotistical. You
How
know what
so?
I'm saying? Because like how we think about how we think we at the top of the food chain,
Hmm.
you know. But then let's go ahead and get out in the wilderness. See
Yeah.
what the food chain is for real. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I think we shortchanging ourselves by thinking that we could just put a number on our senses. That's
Okay.
to me, that's like being big headed.
Strong argument.
Um, that's like saying we don't categorize things because like it need you have a category so you can have an understanding of what you're dealing with. Because some people, like when we start to dig into them, some people don't even know that these things exist. They don't even
Mm-hmm.
understand how their minds and bodies work. They may have inclination of it, but they really don't have a consciousness of it to use it to manipulate the surroundings. And I'm gonna start off with the type of senses, right? So we don't hear things. You know what I'm saying? We do hear things. We do see things. We do. Our skin does feel certain things. What does water feel like? What does cold feel like? What does heat feel like? I mean, if we didn't have senses, how would we know that those things are happening to us?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
like, and even the ones that I just mentioned, like if we deal with the five is only dealing with an external, something outside of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so, if you're dealing with something outside of you, something is causing you to be responsive to the environment. We got an echo for some reason.
Yeah, you went out a couple times too.
I don't have no headphones that I can plug in. Yeah, so they starting to give me the. Can you hear me?
We live next to
Yeah.
the church.
Okay.
Which one of y'all live next to the church?
Yeah.
Hey, that was delayed right there.
Hell of a thing.
Damn. One bit.
It was like Chinese real quick for Tommy. He had said what he said, but his lips were still moving.
Yeah.
It's like your audio is off a little bit.
Yeah, they got us real choppy right now. It was clear, then it went choppy.
Yeah, I'm delayed.
That's why I can tell that what we're talking about is going to be deep and we're getting interference. So we're not able to share that message. You know what I'm saying? Because what about the internal senses?
Yeah.
You know, I spent a large part of last night looking into the various different senses and then looking for articles to support each one. And we came up with like 36 of them. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, so we came up with 36 of them. And I'm just going to start, we can talk about each one of them if we want, but I'm going to talk about like we already know about the 5. Can we think of anything else that is associated with our senses? And that it become to what are you aware of? You know what I mean? Uh, and I'm gonna start it off with saying just simple stuff like our sense of rhythm, right? Our sense of time and cycles. And that's a sense that we let me say it this way: those who know about the senses more than the other have an opportunity to manipulate the environment. So someone that knows about our sense of time and rhythm can put together algorithms. Those algorithms can stimulate the mind and cause a response. That's why we have commercials. That's why the commercials are quick and speedy because the brain can pick up that fast information.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, we can look these up one by one and show that and put an article to each one of them, put more information to each one of them. And that's something that is something that is sensed internally. You're using the 5 senses to help gauge that sometimes. The external to help the internal senses uh, gauge how they can perceive the world. How you perceive time based on watching something move fast, hearing the beat of the drum, your heart. Um, um, let me see. Then you got like if you even you got your sense of balance. There is uh, there's parts of the brain that actually help to balance ourselves, like and it uses hearing, like kind of like a gyroscope. There are parts of the brain and the lymphatic system that helps um, us balance ourselves. Now, not just physically balancing to walk straight, but balancing us hormonally. Homeostasis is a part of that balance, and that's dealing with health, which takes us to another sense of health and well-being, if you want to say. But a sense of health would be more because mental health, you got physical health, you have emotional health, You know, can you balance those things in order to help you to make clear decisions? You know, we just talked. I just gave two extras. I mean, I know you know a couple that you can build on, but I know you know a few more you could build on, and like if you can almost think of it as something that you deal with, it's almost like a sense, like your sense of awareness. Are you aware that certain things take place within your body, within your community, your surroundings? You know what I mean? We had
I'm following you. I was waiting for you to go a little bit deeper, but I kind of like how you stand on the surface. Kind of gives us more of an opportunity to speak to more of the senses.
yeah, that's what I'm doing is just throwing it out there so we can use our own experience to s- to shed light on, like, have you been aware of those things in you, and what gives you the idea or the mind state that you are aware of those things, and those things are just each individual can talk about.
Okay. Filster said somebody's TV or music in the background is causing interference with the audio.
I got mine on mute.
I'm upstairs, I don't have nothing going.
Yeah, me neither. Okay.
I'm not sure.
Extra mic somewhere, something. But anyway, yeah, you still on your bill?
Well, no, I mean anybody can chime in at any time.
All right, let me chime because this got interesting for me. I had something. I had something entirely going on. Um, that I was checking into, and
Yeah, me too.
I came across something I couldn't help. I couldn't help but jump on it. Okay, so first of all, uh, we was we got played in school. Let's just get that. Let's just get that established immediately, right? Just dumbed us down all the way down, like several notches with that misinformation right there. You know, 5 cents.
Hey B, I think it's in your background. When I mute your mic, it goes away. Okay, yeah. Go ahead, Tommy.
All right, but anyway, so
Unmute it when you come in.
yeah, we was told 5 senses. Um, I was wanting to find out when certain information was confirmed in the scientific world or whatever in scholastic. So because I had read something saying that there were 9 confirmed senses, 21 confirmed but less focused senses, and 33 debatable human senses.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what's that? 63. I don't know if you had the 5 or not, but 63, right?
Okay.
Off the top of my head, that is. And saying that um the sensory system, talking about the sensory system. Have you heard of the sensory system? Either of you heard of the sensory system?
I have.
Okay. So it went on to say that the first person who tried to make a list of human senses was Greek philosopher Aristotle. you know, who lived like almost 400 BC, and coincidentally, I heard he won Mr. Tan Universe that same year, whatever. Um, so you got the basic senses, the five senses, right? The ophthalmoception, the audio, that's eyesight, visual perception, audioception, hearing, auditory, uh, uh, gust, gustaoception or olfacception, your sense of smell. I mean, sense of taste, your gustaoception, sense of taste, olfaction or olfacception, olfacoception, sense of smell, and tactioception, skin.
Mhm.
And so, all right, that's the five we familiar with from school, from elementary school. Okay, for internal human senses, thermoception. This is lack or increase of heat in the skin. Uh, Proprioception, body parts, awareness of body parts uh, without visual points. Nociception, whole body, sensation of pain in the body, you know, your skin, your organs, all that. And equilibrioception, that's the whole body sense of balance. Uh, Ear fluid is noted for, you know, uh, making you aware that your ear fluid is that's what that's for. So you got more additional. It just says additional human senses, kinesthetic sense of acceleration. That sense of acceleration, tactility is mostly in the skin. It's perception of pressure, chemoreception, blood and brain sensation of hunger, thirst, vomiting, and suffocation. Stretch reception, muscles, joints, skin, sense of gag reflexes, gag distension, excretion. Cutaneous reception, that's your skin sense of skin vasodilation, vasod, vasodilation, or vasodilation, however you pronounce that. Like when your skin has been flushed skin. Uh, Synesthesia, body parts combination of senses, like smiling at someone's voice. Now you got six more: extra sensory perception, your sixth sense of intuition, gut feeling, premonition, paranoid subconscious sense of future events, telepathy, audio perception of a person's thoughts, precognition, visual perception of future events,
Check
clairvoyance,
this out.
visual.
And some of those, can you express any experience you've had with any of those? Like just pick one or two of them and just express it. Like one that's not usually, um, excuse me, expressed or mentioned.
All of them. Me personally, all of them. And
Okay.
I wanted to throw that out too because uh, what I didn't chime in after you two at first because I wanted y'all to have the floor for one, and two, um, I wanted to you know, I'm always a go between type of guy. Uh, I absolutely believe that brother Buddha's his addition, his bill was an addition, like an attachment to yours, because I'm all for the you know, the limitless pill. You know what I mean? Having like, okay, um, let's say there are higher beings. So naturally we would believe that they command a lot more from their senses, right? Or, you know, even having um yeah, I'm with B on that. It could be I wouldn't say infinite number, but like so many, way more than we can imagine or come up with the help of a computer or, maybe even a library.
I think the fact that we have and can experience them, we just don't have an environment that gives us the ability to cultivate them.
No doubt. No, I wouldn't disagree with that. But
Because like something I was thinking about, right? A sentient being.
yep.
Do you guys know what a sentient being is?
Hmm.
A sentient being is something that deals with the five senses, meaning a computer can listen to word patterns, it can visually watch, it can have the it can have the what different smells put in the air. It can track that. It can know what type of notes to put in a drink or food. Like it can deal with those five senses, but can it go into the other senses? You know what I'm saying? Can it go into the other senses, which without being programmed? No. So that is like I was looking at like a person, a zombie is someone that can only deal with life and perceive life through the five senses. But if you are thinking man and woman, that's where your sense, like a sense of intelligence, that's one. And that's dealing with, let me see, your sense of intelligence is dealing with the capability of abstraction, logic, understanding, self-awareness, learning, emotional knowledge, reasoning, planning, creativity, and critical thinking and problem solving. You can't just focus on um the five senses in order to reach a higher level of your existence. You have to go deeper. You have your sense of see uh interconnectedness,
Hmm.
know, your sense of creativity, your sense of humor, your sense of self. Like we just go into interconnectedness, right? That is the quality, a high quality. What that's the sense of interconnectedness. Hold on, let me get you. Is where you can let me because I was looking up all of these. All right, all right. So now, they just not want to give me nothing. I had it all out laid out, and it got erased. Okay, so yeah, this is weird, but just interconnectedness is dealing with being connected to all living things, having some connection with any and everything, knowing that you're connected to all these things at once, at all the time. Like for instance, in order for our telepathy to work, we have to really understand that we are connected in that type of realm to where we can do that. You understand what I'm saying? We have compassion for the animals that are being slaughtered. Insects, plant life, planets. Everything is all within that field of being connected to everything.
All
So
right.
that's just, some people can, some people can't sense that.
Okay. Now, what did you have something to add on?
Yo, so y'all can hear me, right? My background ain't too loud.
Yeah, we hear you.
Sweet. Yeah, I had to go holler at the Disco King, have him turn it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But man, I had a few things I wanted to interject, but I'm gonna just start right here, like where Fly was saying with interconnectedness. Now, one thing we can look at that we all do is let's look at memory. Like we think our memory is here, but our memory is not here. It's outside of us, right? So here's an example. Someone could be, hey, Tommy, you remember that one time we did it? You looking up like, it ain't quite coming to me. So I'll ring off a couple of things that happened in that situation. And then you'll be like, yeah, I remember because I had on a blue shirt and then I went and such spilled something on my jeans.
Yeah.
Right there shows the interconnectedness because the memory is not here. It's in the Akashic. And there's certain things that we have that make us connect to it, right? When I said that certain, whatever it was, that's when you connected to that memory strand that's right outside of you. You know what I'm saying? So these are things that we don't trip off of. We think our mind is here, memory and everything. No, it's not all there. It is operating from a place of interconnectedness, like Falah was just speaking to. But once again, going back to the earlier when we were speaking, and how we like to be so egotistical as humans, figuring we the top of the shit and we not for real. That's where we start to lose, you know what I mean? Thinking we the ultimate and we ain't even doing our due diligence to look at the process that puts us in the place to be at some point supreme. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You know, that's one of the senses too, a sense of memory. How well is your memory?
Yeah. Yes.
Some people can remember being children.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people can remember being in their mother's womb and they're being born.
And so what are we speaking to when we speak to that? We speaking to the dendrines firing off in the brain. So like it's going back to that discipline, which we ain't quite got to yet. But then if all of these things are misplaced and outside of you, look at how far disconnected you are to all of your senses and things that could, attune you to what's happening in your immediate nature. You know what I mean? And your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
That nature is external and internal. You got internal what you're dealing with, and it directly connects to the external. But we tend to think that everything is outside of us. We don't look for nothing within. Everything is outside of us. When we get sick, we look outside. We don't look within. And we tend to think that viruses are created from nature. The body creates viruses. Nature don't create viruses. If you get a virus from nature, it's biological warfare. You know what I mean? So these are all things that we detach from and don't even, you know what I mean? It's numb.
I want to add to what you're saying too, B. Let's go back to what you said that when something happens to us, we think if it's something outside of us because we're stimulated by only the five, our consciousness, which is another sense, your sense of consciousness. Like every time we say something, it's going to be a sense connected to it because we all have it. Your sense of consciousness is being directed only towards the gross stimulation of the five senses, when the internal senses are very subtle, they're very soft, they whisper to you, where the gross, the five senses on the external are very loud, rough touching, something you can see that's gross in nature, something that's loud, you know what I'm saying? Food that tastes super sweet or sour or bitter that jars the brain. So just like these experiences we have, we immediately go outside of us, which is the one thing that we're used to dealing with, which is external, instead of being able to calm things down and go within. Because another
your discipline.
another sense is our intuition. And what does that really mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I agree. So now we can see our world is going to be open the more we have this conversation. It's going to be open more, especially if we choose to activate the information and live by it. You know, that means we were like
Yes.
something that kind of helped me remember this one time when Tommy he was fasting and the things he was telling me he was fasting from. And I was like, yeah, because that's part of fasting. You know, it's you got to fast from visual. You got to have a visual fast. You have to have is it auditory fast. You have to have a olfactory fast. You have to have a tactician fast, because those are so stimulated that they don't allow us to really hear the subtle um, uh, cues that the internal world gives us. Like, say, one thing that I deal with sometimes, if I'm about to eat something and I know that food is not going to do well for me, I get like a queasiness in my stomach. Sometimes I would just overlook that and be like, "Ah, man, I'm cool." But then when I realize, like, if I pay attention to it, I feel better later in the morning or something like that. That's just one example for me. But if I'm like constantly stimulated, I won't get that cue. You know.
It's just like one of the bills we had when we were speaking on sexual responsibility, and how one of the brothers was saying shorties that use the bob. It's like, man, trying to come behind that is, it's like, how can you? Because they're so overstimulated. You know what I mean? Your
Hmm.
stimulation is just like a drop in the big ass ocean. Like,
Yep.
and that's like what you're speaking to. We so bombarded with so many other things outside of ourselves and giving value to it. I think that's like part of the hang up. We give value to it so much. We want to run to it and be a part of it. Like, and it's just taking us away from our family structure. It's taking us away from our culture. It's taking us away from our diet, proper eating, exercise,
Hmm.
everything, you know?
Hmm.
Even clean thinking, just thinking clean, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Not even there because we so attracted to acid and death. It's crazy.
All
Yep.
right. So,
Everything sweet and sour and bitter.
yeah. Yes,
It's
sir.
hard to speak to it.
All right. So now we get into uh, where I wanted to get to, because you know that was that was great. That was powerful. So now I want to get technical, tactical, and practical. Right? How do we do that with the knowledge of so many senses? Because like Falah said in the beginning, you are able to control the environment, you know, right?
Right.
So not even getting that advanced, but just control oneself and control um, and enable being able to control your life, or you know control yourself. That's I'm gonna go ahead and say that because that's saying a lot. You know what I mean? Like to really control yourself and have self control, at all times. That's something. Because
Yeah, that's our discipline.
most of us are prone to lose a temper here, which is another word for control. It's a synonym for control. You lose your temper, you lose control, fly off the handle, right? And okay, a couple other things that we don't have as much control over as we would like to have, right? Especially us control freaks. Um, so yeah, using the senses to establish self-control first and foremost. Because
Okay.
before you can control and command an environment, you have to have that level of self-control,
Okay.
right?
Well, I would say this, right? That s- um, a sense of self is a sense, and uh, what that means is your sense of self refers to your perception of the collection of characteristics that define you. Somebody's mic is a little bit loud. Personality traits, abilities, likes, dislikes, your belief systems or moral code, and the things that motivate you. All these contribute to self image and your unique identity as a person. Examples of your sense of self is someone with a strong sense of self can manage any curvable toss in their direction. For example, you're able to stay firm in their self worth even after losing a job, or know how to maintain self esteem even after a breakup. So like, okay, so one of the things that I do realize is that if you don't understand, okay, so it was something we were talking about, and I started to see that we have the micro and the macro. The micro is outside of us. It's everything gross outside of us. The macro is our cellular world. That has a consciousness too. And it comes with instinct, intuition, things that we're actually born with that we experience through life. So going back to what we were saying, like what B was saying about having somebody who's constantly popping herself off or him popping himself off, he's stimulated so much that he cannot even understand or she can't understand how she's really supposed to work. She has to go bigger and better. So that means we have to stop living, and this is just my opinion, we have to live a boring life. That boring life allows the water to set. And that's when that water sets and we get around other individuals. It's one thing about us is we our eyes are not designed to look at ourselves.
The
Our
last,
eyes our eyes are designed to look at each other
when you
and
say,
from each other. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say when you say the waters to set, what waters
The
are you?
the waters of the mind, the mental waters of the mind. You know, it's like the surface of the water is the clarity of your mind. And every time we deal with something in our environment, we're throwing a rock in that water, which not allows us to see clear. And that's it's a I'm using that as a way to express a clear thinking and then being able to perceive what's underneath the surface of the water. But when it's constantly choppy and going, you can't really see through the water. You can't see, much of yourself. So, but as and like we are the water, like the water is reflected. And if I'm going crazy and you're not, I'm able to see how you're holding yourself in a situation that can give me clarity. You may be able to point out to me a way that I'm being that I can't see because I can't look at myself perform duties. Only people outside of me can. So that's my thing is one way that we can cultivate that is to be around people and allow them to expose our corruption to us. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's the way you walk or like, sense of humor. We use our sense of humor to to like how we, when we was kids, we used to play the dozen. And if you came to school with your pants wrinkled, we'll dog you out so you get your pants together. So that was a way we was using that to kind of help the other person visualize how they see themselves. You don't see that you're wearing some bozo shoes, so we talk about you. You don't see that your hair is nappy, so we talk about you. That's a way of mirroring what we see to each other. That's just my way. That's one way. It's not the only way, but that's just one way I can see that we can, help each other out with that. And then that's, so, somebody else might want to chime in now. I don't want to just be, talking and preaching.
Yeah, I'm putting it together, man. Like I said, I'm practical, tactical, man. I think
Let me chime in a little bit
I'm
on that.
here for because I want that to be a main part of the message, or whatever we do on this platform is to be something that somebody can take and it's like a cheat code, if you will. You know what I mean? Like kind of like a easy button, like okay, this step, this definition, if they paid attention, if they paid that much attention, they will have that much information that they will be able to start putting in a lot of practice. You know what I mean? Sooner than later.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this: we so far behind the ball, we so far behind the goal of dealing with what we're dealing with that it's no way that we could really push. Like I'm going with what B said earlier, that would be arrogance to believe that we can give anybody anything because we would have to master it first.
Just offer, I'm just offering consciousness.
What I'm saying is just talk about it
Boost
is not enough.
boosting the perspective. That's it. I'm good
What
with
I'm saying is this, right? What I'm saying is this. Like, for instance, we only can talk about what we've experienced. Like, I only can talk about the senses because I've been able to experience and have some type of uh, dealing with them. So there's people that can know those things beyond me. So
All right.
I can only share that level and then encourage people to stick with me and I stick with them so we can even push, we can hold each other accountable to pushing that level. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So
Exactly. That's what I'm
it's not much
talking
that we
about.
can do but just share some things for them to go study because they gotta go pick up some books and deal in
Absolutely.
those quiet
Absolutely.
corners and
Absolutely.
you know, search themselves for what they deal with.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But that's
Everybody.
that's kind of what I was going
Everybody.
to speak to. Not to cut you guys off, but that's kind of what I was going to speak to. We got to get back to the model, right? We got to get a transparent model that everyone agrees with,
Yes, sir.
and no one is going to have any, type of qualms about it. Then now we can begin to lay the process on how to take the first step.
That's what I'm talking about. When I say practical, tactical, and technical, that's exactly what I mean.
That's what it is. We got to get back to the model, right? So, and I think the first step to getting back to a good model is looking at the value system that's at play. What do you value? Where's the center of that coming from?
Sense of value.
Right.
Sense of
So
value.
if your personal, like Fala was speaking to earlier, your self-worth, right? If that's up, if your integrity is up, right? So
What's
now
not?
the only thing that's left is to bring your purpose and your responsibility up. What is your purpose? How is it tying into your responsibility? And what does that look like? Right. So I think, like I said, the first part is looking at the model that we acting from, right? Push the feelings to the side. Let's go ahead and build this structure, which we know it's got to look like family. You know what I mean? That's part of it. We know it's got to look like how we deal with our health on a day-to-day basis, meaning diet, you know what I mean? Exercise, you know, contributing to the other faculties that's needed to be healthy in the community, right? Because what does that look like to be healthy in the community? Like if we
Pardon me.
homeless people out here and different things of that nature, is that healthy?
No.
Depending on your approach and your perspective, they're part of nature. They're closer to nature than we would tend to think. You know what I mean? But then what does their level of discipline and responsibility look like with that? Are they themselves clean, right? What level of cleanliness are they practicing at? Right. So that's why I say when we go back, let's go back and look at that model, and then look at the process in which we're going to take to implement that model in our everyday. And that's where we start looking at the 77, where the 77 come from. We know it came from the 613, which came from the Seven Sisters. I mean, yeah, we can do all that due diligence, but what's our first step, right? That's where we at. And that first step is going to be encapsulating, capturing, and creating a healthy picture for us to operate from, recapturing how to be good stewards for the land, because that's what's going to tie into our health. We keep our stewardship up for maintaining our land. Oh man, hold on. I got a spider I got to deal with. This big boy. Let me get to him. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Ron, I see what you said about even marriage is a mirror of ourselves, our shortcomings, and our greatness. I would agree with that. That's one way that we can fix our community because the first community that you deal with is your own body. The second community that comes into place is mother and father creating children. That's the first community. So if that that's the first outside community. So if your internal community is sick or it's not getting along with itself, you start to kill yourself. And then how that looks like on the outside is in your family life starts to resemble that same type of destruction. So, um, going back to what B said, the model for me, the model is nature. Nature has built in everything we need in order to um, to exist and live properly. You know, if you naturally every being, person, not person, but every one of us on the planet came from the union of a male principle and female principle. Without that, there is no community. So that's what nature put into it. And that's years of evolution, and we don't even call that evolution. That's just years of what nature has been, and we talking about eons what it's been. And so if we want to know what the motto is, the motto is to follow nature. Get out in nature, be a part of nature, see how things work. Stop going against what nature is. It's only right that we be in the same community together because we were born in a community. Like I was saying, the first community that we deal with is the community of our body. We may have started off with one cell, through from dad to mom, going in there and being one cell. That cell duplicated itself with the same possibility to make more of itself. So that those two went and duplicated four. Those four went and duplicated eight. And they all have the same quality as the first, but they couldn't be what they are.
They had different duties, different purpose.
They have different purposes, but they couldn't be what they are if they didn't give each other the greatness and which one embodied. You understand what I'm saying? That one cell embodied the greatness to create another one. And when he created that other one, he gave that other one the same ability to create itself. And each one that was going, they create and build on themselves. And they, like you said, they have their purpose and they live towards their purpose. And when that happens, right, you have homeostasis of the body. You have a full, healthy body with no issues, no problems. You understand what I'm saying? So
Right. Everybody's in their lane doing what they supposed to do. Yeah.
to do. Some cells go be the heart. Some go be the the stomach lining. Some go be the sexual organs. Some go be the eyes, the ears. They all play a part, but they
Right.
all respective to what.
Then you got like your mother cells to go around to all the other departments and make sure they cool. You got enough of this. Let me go check and see,
Mhm.
because that's what happens when you get, let's just say you get a virus. So now let's just say you got a cough, right? So now you got your lungs and your pancreas and your kidneys giving your lungs everything they need to get that cough off. But we don't think about it as that. We just, oh man, I'm going through whatever I'm going through. I know I shouldn't have drunk that extra, or I know I shouldn't have stayed up, or whatever we attribute it to. And we try to move right on past it like, we shouldn't pay it much mind. It's going to be okay. Okay, two things are happening there. You're talking to yourself on a cellular level, which most of us wouldn't even, don't even fathom. I talk to myself on a cellular level. You do it every day. But how conscious are you of it?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. So look, check this out. That takes me to another level of dealing with it ourselves, right? There's have you heard of the Claire senses?
Maybe not in that turn.
This is what they are. You're gonna know when I say
Like
they're
clairvoyance, their audio.
claircognizance, which is intuitive knowledge. Clair
Clear audience.
voyance, which is intuitive vision. Clairaudience, which is intuitive audio and hearing. Clairsentient, which is intuitive knowing by feelings. Clair
Yeah, I think I had that the other night. I dreamt of us having this build the other night, bro.
right. So that's
I
clear.
thought
That's
about it all day. I thought about it all day yesterday. What we was gonna talk about next, and I had something I was gonna call you with today, and ask you. But it's crazy how. Go ahead though.
so you got Claire Salias, which is intuitive smell. You got Claire tangency, which is intuitive knowing by touching. You can touch something and know. You have clair tactation, intuitive touch. You have clair gastation, intuitive taste. Clair empathy, intuitive feelings of emotions. You have re clair loquation, loquations, which is intuitive communication, and clair essence, which is intuitive embodiment. Now, those are like going into your sense of oneness, because in order for you to deal with that intuitively, you have to be completely understanding yourself on a certain level. And then how you just went through that, like we all have these abilities, but how you went through that and saw this conversation, how did you see that? What gave you that ability to see that? Where did it come from? And then we're actually talking about it today.
I
So,
would say it goes back to what the one brother spoke to earlier about the vibrations.
mhm,
It's like when you said what you said earlier about the water, calming yourself down so you can become to that valley where you can see a little bit clearer. When I calmed myself down and was just taking it in on, what that build was, it just was like, yo, what's the next one gonna be? How are we gonna connect that? Because that's like a challenge I took on myself to make sure I can connect all our builds every time we have a build. I
yes,
want
sir.
to connect all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mhm.
As we live day to day, it's all connected. It's like the seasons. So it's like, why come we can't be deeply rooted in our bills like that? Like we should be able to pull from that information that was spoke on in those other bills and connect it all the way through and keep going.
Mhm.
Where I was at when I had that thought, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna call my brother and see what the next one is gonna be like. Where we gonna go? And boom, you hit me today with it. It was like, wow.
So
Yeah.
let me jump in right here with something that I just wanted to throw in the pot. Right, read this. I had to catch this. I got it off of bodytomeme.com. Right, but it said that apart from consciousness, the role of human senses include motion, reaction, motion, articulation, interpretation, comprehension, cognition, recognition, sensation, and perception.
Yeah, that's to me like that's you saying you got to be active in the moment.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I just wanted to throw that in there. That's all. And I
Yeah,
did, you know,
So,
that is.
active
something
in the
I want
moment.
to speak on.
That, that's a good summation of that.
Something I want to speak on that you asked earlier, Tommy. Like, how can we put that into practical use? Well, that's what B just said is the actual embodiment of that, being in the
Absolutely.
moment at all times, no matter
Absolutely.
like remember when I was saying, like, I don't know if I told you this, but I was saying that when something happens to you, you have to ask yourself the question, why is this happening to me? What is the
Mhm.
purpose of this? What would it serve me? That's being in the moment of actually taking the time to break down the situation that you're dealing with. That way you can start to perceive your next course of action
It
different.
affects it. Yeah, it's a step in the process of everything. But that's why I said it. I don't know if you heard me, but right when you spoke, I said that was a summation. That was a
Yeah,
summation.
I heard what you said, but I'm just
Yeah,
building on the fact that we had talked about that earlier.
yeah, that's it.
You know?
That's it.
So
Yeah,
I
like
went
that's what I was saying. That's all I was looking for. You know
look,
what I mean?
I went a bit deeper in dealing with the senses because senses actually help us with everything you just said. Our senses help us with those things, right? And this is something that most of us don't think about is like emotionally we dialogue with only a handful of emotions, anger, sad, happy, but there's actually 30 plus emotions that are also classified as senses because it helps us to perceive our environment. And one of those senses, another sense that me and Bia are familiar with is called your sense of watch, and how emotions being a sense that helps you understand how to motivate you. Because if you know that you're going to be um, let's say, like if I know I don't go to work, I'm gonna miss the I'm gonna miss having my bills paid. That's gonna cause me to feel some type of way. And when I start to feel some type of way, do I want to feel that way? No. So I use that emotion as a bit of energy to go through the highway, moving where I need to go to get me where I need to be because I don't want to be there.
That
So,
sounds like a purpose for emotion.
well, that's a good purpose for them. But there's all kinds of emotion, disgust. Like we don't even understand all the emotions that there are. We just know, and like that's why I say someone who does understand these emotions know how to take run. They know how to take our emotions.
Because they have purpose.
For
Because they
those who
have
don't
purpose,
understand
they
their emotions or
understand them.
senses, someone who do understand them would take advantage of us.
Yep. By using them on purpose. You know what I mean? And being
Mhm.
conscious and
Or
aware
I,
and
yeah,
cognitive of that whole process of them doing that. The whatever it all it entails. But um that so now, that's it, I like to see the bill come full circle because I look at it from I'm always looking in like, I don't know nothing because I don't. And if I don't if I don't know half of the things you guys are saying, then how would I know how to apply it? So I'm always one. I always like to be able to break things down for just super simple, and
yeah,
that we did that, and we absolutely did that. I'm having a situation of my can't find my charger to this computer, and it's low, so I'm gonna try to switch out, but if not, I'll get back in. So go ahead and keep it going.
Okay, here goes something right here. Internal sensations and perceptions. Internal sensations detects stimuli from internal organs and tissues. Internal senses possessed by human include. I'm going into Wikipedia for this, right? Because this would make sense. Like, and we're gonna go into the part of the brain that I know that deals with uh cognitive behavior, and that is your thalamus. Not your thalamus, but your limbic system, right?
Yep.
And that deals with your emotions. Let me go limb
Okay. I want to
system.
I want to know what I don't know what the study of the human senses is. That's what I was looking at.
So let's go into some of the functions of the limbic system. You have memory, storage, retrieval. This is just a quick overview. Establish emotional state, the link the consciousness, intellectual functions of the cerebral cortex with the unconscious automatic functions of the brainstem. So, I mean, this is just so basic right here because there's like a lot of parts of the brain that we could go into, many different parts of the brain that deals with certain levels of thought. I think maybe I shared this with you once before, B. We have, how we be building, but like, no, I'm sorry, that was with my son. But those things are not. We're not taught how to understand our brains in that fashion. We don't understand what certain parts uh, that what certain things are in our brain and what the functions are of our brain because they have a different sensation than the five senses. So that's one way that we can start to understand ourselves and understand our biology. There's already people that studied this and they studying it to where they know how to monetize. You know what I'm saying? Monetize us and create us as a resource, a human resource. You know, because we don't understand our bodies and how to think and talk, we become human. Human is what deals with the five senses, but thinking men and women, people, are able to know their body, know what it does, how it works, and deal with other thinking people that can hold them accountable. Because uh, that's what sets us apart from a human being that just wants to feel and enjoy their life. Where a thinking person wants to touch the earth and deal with it, grow their food. You know, they want to know what it's like to create and manipulate the environment. Where a human, so to speak. These are legal terms. I'm using the legal terms of these things, right? Um, they just want to be taken care of in a democracy type of way. And the actual definition by law of a human is a monster, which means you have to have a demonocracy or democracy that can, because those people are not actually thinking; they're feeling their way through things. Whoever controls your feelings controls you. So, like I always say that our women are not loyal to us; they're loyal to their emotions. And whoever controls those emotions control those women. And so, we were having a conversation. I want your opinion on this. Uh, if we're dealing with the internal world and it having a consciousness and it's having an intuitive nature, that means that each cell has intelligence and life, correct? And if those cells have life, um, we are to, we're not to commit, we're not to take a life,
Sound like
even
muscle memory.
even if that life is a part of us. So, like, even like they say that a woman can't abort mission, right? She can't abort mission, and if she do, it's wrong. Well, isn't it just as wrong for men to wrap their life force into a bag and toss it? That's a part of your life force that you are aborting,
Yeah.
and
So
so
that
one of
It's
the
a
things that I
suicide.
was saying too in the title is that why men have the ability to control an abort mission. And one of those is because if you didn't put your life there, she could not finish it. She can only finish what's being put there, meaning she can have it or she can not have it. So if it's up to us, if we really care, if we understand our bodies and what we're dealing with and how many senses there are and the type of knowledge and energy it takes to become understanding of those things and how to cultivate them, wouldn't we have a higher sense of what we're doing with ourselves when we do place ourselves into these women and what type of women we're placing ourselves into and what we would do with the life um fluid that comes from our bodies? Wouldn't we have more care for that? So then she wouldn't be put in a position. We can absolutely eliminate putting any woman in that position if you're a man that decides how valuable that is. Going back to your sense of value of your sense of self.
Which
ties
those
into your purpose and your responsibility.
Responsibility to your
When
community.
that and your responsibility should tie into what your goals are to help motivate humanity. Now, that should put it all in perspective. Because if your goal is to reach a higher version of yourself, then you're not going to put your life force into just anything.
yeah.
Exactly.
It's going to be aligned with the goal in mind.
Hmm.
And that's where we fall short because we just want to be stimulated. We want to feel good.
The
And
five
that's,
senses.
yeah, we giving in to the flesh, as some would say.
Hmm.
And we know a lot of us are weak in the flesh and not strong in the spirit because look at how we are right now today.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right.
Wow, yeah, it's just terrible.
Um, and I love some of these comments, brother Ron Harvey. Definitely get in there.
Yeah, brother been dropping some nice.
Uh, yeah, he spoke on some things that I said that I was throwing out, like the self-control thing I was talking about, which Um, that absolutely got built on. But he said to me, it's how we show up in chaos, knowing that it's just a journey of self and awareness, and how we deal with things that come to us, and how we react to the pressure and its guidance. Yeah, good stuff, bro.
Got to speak to the laws of attraction. That's heavy on that
How
right
about
there.
that? How about that? So what senses are those? The laws of
Well,
attraction.
we could just start with what you manifest. What you think is what you attract to yourself, and then the reality of it is what you're in agreement with.
And that would be, I think that would be have something to do with your sense of self. You need to see yourself for who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and you're
And we know,
attracting what you don't want to see. You're attracting, and that's what you got to deal with. You know.
Okay. And so that to me sounds like your sense of becoming,
yeah,
Yep.
right?
because you is what you make manifest. You know, your
Okay.
subconscious is active in your life.
So what was that first one before I said sense of becoming? What'd you say?
Your sense of self, seeing your sense of self,
Okay,
gives
sense of
you your
self.
sense, gives you your sense of awareness. So now you can understand your sense of becoming something. And
Right,
what?
and see where you fit in nature.
Oh
Yep.
boy, now we getting somewhere. Now we talking. Your sense of self lead to your sense of awareness, and then to your sense of becoming.
And where you fit, how you fit into nature.
Mm-hmm.
Where you fit and
That's
how
going
you
to tie into your purpose as well.
absolutely,
Because
absolutely.
you
So
know your purpose, it could be a noun or
yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
knowledge itself would be a sense of self, right?
definitely.
Thing, same thing.
Now
Yeah.
I won't say it's the same thing because your knowledge of self is you actually knowing who you are. Sense of self is you actually you having an internal understanding of who you are and how to change who you are. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to like reason why I say I want to leave it at sense of self because um, it falls into how we can break down the senses and follow the path. But when it starts to rename it, you rename it to classify it as something that belongs to you when it really
But
is just a sense of self.
you absolutely have to do knowledge and have knowledge of self to increase your sense of self.
But we can't. But you can't have knowledge of self by looking at yourself. You need other people around you. That's why we attract who we attract to show
I
us
got
who.
a lot of knowledge of self.
That's what I'm saying. Like we need other individuals around to show us who we are, to give us that knowledge of self, to give us that knowledge, that sense of self. You know what I'm saying? What like it's kind of like dealing with Bayuwali and Yenu, right?
Hmm.
Planets are in rotation, and then them being in rotation, they
They know where they are in radiance
but
too.
they are, and they know where the other ones are, but they
Yeah.
have to stay within that realm. Without that understanding, the planet it only
Mhm.
knows where it is based on where the other planets are. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a more scientific answer to it, but yeah, ultimately, yeah.
Yeah, because like if the moon didn't know where the Earth is, but how would it know to stay away from it? It needs the Earth to show I'm right here too. And now that the Earth show there, they have a symbiotic reflection, you
Yeah,
know.
they do have a relationship. That's how
Yep.
they know.
And the moon has the sun has its relationship and the other planets, and they all are within their own time and space, giving acknowledgement to each other, which gives
Yeah,
them knowledge of who they are and where they stand within existence itself. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. The fragments that hold the cosmos together, right?
Yep.
That's intriguing. I like that type of shit.
Yep. So that's why like I kind of like to like knowledge yourself is to me sounds like something that you can have for yourself. Like how some of these people um
I see what you're saying.
like they would say like I'm working on myself, But then when
Yeah.
they get around people, they really can't. They got knowledge of who they are. You believe you're something around yourself. You're brilliant, but when you get around other people, you realize you're not as brilliant as you was. So now your knowledge of self becomes compromised. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Versus,
in that regard, yeah.
yeah, that's why I say,
'Cause I always kind of look at it like when I speak of knowledge itself and how you fit into the equation, right?
uh-huh.
And so I'm saying that like I can see, like we were just speaking to the cosmos, the sun, moon, stars, quasars, and how they all have a relationship with each other. Same thing with my internals. Like how do my lungs, kidneys, pancreas all know where to go and how they fit in?
Right.
They all have that relationship. It's almost symbiotic to nature in a degree to the cosmos. They all connect. But if you, like you said, if you out of tune, out of touch of yourself, you're not gonna see yourself fitting in all of that. You're gonna see it being otherworldly.
Right.
It don't really include you, like, and it does. Stardust is a part of all of us. So that's kind of how when I get into knowledge itself, that's kind of where I'm going, how I fit into everything, you know?
And I want to comment on something that Ron said. He said, since we're sentient beings, like I think we said this earlier, that a sentient being only deals with five senses. So we have elevated our conversation beyond the five senses to an almost at this point an unlimited amount of senses that will give us the ability to do more things. So we're not sentient beings because that means we're only dealing with the five senses. Um, a computer algorithm can deal with the proper devices, can be a sentient being, and that's where, but it can't be what we are. It can't be. It
Yeah,
can't
it
be.
can't be multidimensional, like
Yeah, it can't become without a programmer who is or
an
who.
architect. Yeah, it has to have a
Yeah,
architect.
yeah. So we're much like it. I would say define a sentient being. You know what I'm saying?
You said defined it.
Not you. I was saying to brother to define that. What does that mean? Not like what it means to you, but what is the actual denotation of that
Yeah,
word? Because like we can say, when I say stuff like, to me it means this. Now I'm having a connotation. I'm taking the
right.
denotation and putting the con in front of it, which means is I'm making it mine, and I'm not
Mhm.
secondary definition to what the first definition is. So, like, what is the real definition of sentient being? It will not be a human. It will not. Well, it will be a human. It won't be a thinking man or woman. The thinking man or woman accesses other elements of its being to become. Hence, we are talking about the various number of cells that we can build on.
And we know it's a lot.
And we know it's a lot, and we're just cracking it. The more, I think, the more that we touch on, the more we grow. We're gonna see that there's more. Like, what about the dimensional senses? That's another one that we haven't even talked about. First dimension up to the 12th dimension, and can you sense that realm within yourself? you know
Yeah. How do you fit into that?
yeah, how do you fit into that? So
And so that kind of segues me into aliens, kind of.
mm,
We might consider to be an otherworldly being, not from what we see every day. And I'm speaking to that because they said one of the reasons why they reincarnated and came down was to get more experience with the other senses.
mhm.
What it is to actually touch, what it is to actually love something. You know what I mean? Because that's a deal too. That'll fog up your decision making because the way you feel for something or someone, you know,
Mm.
your attachment to it, like, and that to me is taking it back to your agreements, what you in agreements with. You know what I mean? And so, like, if you lose sight of those things, you find yourself out here distraught. Like we talking to. Why are we so in such the way that we in? Because I think number one, like we spoke to earlier, we operating from our feelings way too much.
Mm-hmm.
We don't quite understand them. And not having a clear understanding of them, we operating from like a false position sometimes. You know, and we deal with our problems from a inhumane, you know what I mean, some type of way. It don't necessarily have to be destructive to be inhumane. It can be counterproductive and be considered inhumane.
Mm-hmm.
In my world, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So good to have you back, brother Max. See, you had to switch up a little bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Got cut off, and I knew that was gonna happen too. That's why I was like, I'm just waiting. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm talking anyway, boo.
Yeah, man,
Right. Yeah. So what brother Ron said, you know, he can see what we're saying about being mirrors to each other, because if you can look in the mirror and look at yourself in the mirror, and you can lie and start to believe your own lie. That's the reason why, knowledge of self, that's what knowledge of self does for you. You believe you are what you see when you look in the mirror, but when somebody else look at you, do they see what you see?
I disagree wholeheartedly. That is not what knowledge of self is. Knowledge is king. Knowledge is power. So if you have knowledge of self, I didn't say opinion of self. I said knowledge.
What I'm saying though, I'm agreeing with you on that, but what I'm saying is you can only knowledge what someone shows you of yourself.
Or
You can't see what you only going to see what you want to see. If you acknowledge what you see in the mirror and you don't like it, you can believe that you don't what you want to believe about what you're acknowledging in the mirror.
okay, that's up to the
yeah.
individual. You know what I mean? If you have it, then you don't do that. You accept. You know, you have to have a level. You have to have acceptance.
I think knowledge of self comes from other people showing you how you look.
That's absolutely one source of knowledge of self. I got a lot of knowledge of self in which it still applies because it's a person that came from an outside source, not directly, but through like books. Um, uh, Patah, we had a conversation about 20 some odd years ago about knowledge of self, and it was vague. He did it kind of vague, you know, the vague move on me, like figure it out type. And it was about knowledge of self. So I immediately went out to the bookstore, Barnes and Noble, and I'm thinking I'm an Aquarius, so I want to look up, see what it says about Aquarius. While I'm here, I end up being there for like 4 hours because I kept coming across different books, um, astrology books, and I picked them up and I looked in them and I looked at myself, and they all on the money, and there was like several of them, and they touched different aspects, but they all. That's where I learned that you have a lot more to your birthday than just people say what their sun sign is, their astrology, their Western astrology sign is. That's your sun sign. You got a moon sign, star sign, your Chinese year, uh, all these things relevant. There's more than that. But I picked up these books, not all of them, but like 4 or 5 different, sources talking,
Okay,
my
so
birthday.
this is what
And
I
I,
seen
and,
from that,
and I
right?
learned, I gained a great deal of knowledge of self through those.
This is what I would say right on to that, right? We can do that. We can look up books and look at books, and they can tell us certain things, but the books are not in real time active and can deal with you.
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying.
So what I'm saying is, like, when it comes to understanding, the sense of self
You
and what
needed
you are, you
other
need
people.
people that will call you. You may read something that's about you, and you may like what you read and say, "Oh yeah, that's me," but you really may not embody that when other people look at you.
Okay. Okay. So
That's dealing with perception then.
yeah, you talking about liking stuff. It ain't about liking stuff. It's about recognizing. Like for me, it was recognizing things. Like wow, like I know I recognize some characteristics, but I didn't understand them completely. Like you know, um, just different things that I came across, and I was like, wow, you know, that may explain it, because I didn't just bite it all like, you know, oh, it was just entertainment at first. You know, it was interesting. So I had to actually look, you know, with an unbiased look, and just, you know, say, hey, well, you know, how much of this applies? So figuring that out, I just have a greater understanding of myself. Like, I understand a lot of different uh aspects of myself, and you know how they line up uh with that material, you know. And so yeah, I couldn't disagree with you based off of that, because you absolutely need to bounce off of people, you know, but that's a different level um of gaining that knowledge yourself, you know, a different avenue.
Like what I'm
Right.
saying, like for me, right? I looked at my star sign and I seen all the things in there. But one of the conversations I had with Patah is that the higher level of dealing with yourself and knowing who you are is to be able to embody all of the star signs.
No
So
doubt, but that star sign is real deep. That's not just like,
certain things about myself I didn't find in the star sign, and I only found that out through dealing with other people. Some things I liked in there, and I you know, I was like, oh yeah, that's what it is, and it really wasn't what it was because I hadn't even developed to that, but it sound good, and I can make myself believe that those things are good to me and sound good to me, but they really not.
I
You
read a
know,
lot of things that I read a lot of things that I didn't like. I'm gonna put that out there, and the things that I read about myself that I didn't like, I didn't brush those to way to the side because I didn't like them. I didn't do that at all. You know what I'm saying? I was
Listening, listening to
so,
you
but
guys.
I never accepted it. I never accepted any of the information, like good or bad. You don't have to accept that. Oh, that's the way I am, and that's that. You know,
okay,
nah.
so hold on, Rick, real quick, brother Tommy, I want to share this with brother Rob, right? And dealing with a sentient, what sentient what sentient is, right? And it is capable of feeling and having power of or characterized by the exercise of sense perception. And that's what it is. And now to add being onto it is to give it to something that can become from that. So like I
Lo
was saying,
siento. Lo siento.
what I was saying is that when you say for me, you're changing the definition to fit a conversation piece. Now, based on what that's the etymology, should I say? The etymology of that says something totally different than what it is. It's basically the words, so that's part of the speech is senses, and dealing with the senses. It has nothing else to do with anything other than perceiving life through a feeling or through the senses or the five: touch, uh, taste, hearing, sight, and what's the other one? Uh,
Auditory.
huh? Auditory
Auditory.
and hearing. So that's what I was trying to express. Like that's why, like even like say even when we deal with certain things, like is when we change the name, we're making it ours. When we change the definition, we're making it ours, and that makes it hard for us to actually have an understanding of what we're dealing with when we make it ours and then make it out of the realm of what the true definition, what the word denotes in its creation. That's why we like to look up the etymology of words so we can have a greater understanding for what that means in itself, not what we think and what it means for us. It's what it means as a definition that people that came before us. And so that's why I like to try to stick with what things are and not change it because it's not these are not my words. I have an understanding of it innately, but to um, help people get a grasp on it, sometimes you have to meet them at the level in which they are. So that's why I'm trying to bring it like we all can like sit down and go, oh yeah, and then we start to research it and realize that these things did come before us. There are people that understand these concepts and ideas and notions, and they are actually monetizing and manipulating us based on them having knowledge of that. And the more we can say what something is and agree to that, we have more power in its denotation because we know exactly what it means. We're not making it out. It is what it is. Like, water is what water is, and it has its purpose or what it has. We can't change it to mean something else. It is what it is. That was my point in I was trying to make. Like, we can't just change it. We have to agree to what it is as a group. That way we can stand on the firm foundation as a collective, as one body.
So now that you got that out your system, you guys discussing in the fashion that y'all was discussing in, what that was saying to me was how at a disarray we are in the way that we learn. We don't have one way. Like our model was all broke up, but we all getting to the same destination. You know what I mean? Like, I agree with both of y'all, but y'all had two totally different approaches, but y'all got to the same place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so what I was looking at was how they have us in such a disarray with the words we use, and because we got to go back and look up these words. And whereas if we was already operating from our model, we will have all the context, the expressions, the notions, all of those things will have a solid meaning, and it will always give us momentum every time we used it because we know what, the connotation is, the implication, and how to keep on moving and building off of it. But at this point where we redefining the model, recapturing our culture and the way that we tend to teach one another. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's happening right now. We teaching one another. You know what I'm saying? Even those that's tapping in. But it's like becoming a mechanic, so to speak, right? You can't just learn how to work on GMs because you got them Porsches, Lambos, but they all mechanics. They all,
but you limit
right?
your money.
But they all have different approaches. Same end result. You can get in all of them, start them up, and drive them. You know what I'm saying? But you can't use the same application for dealing with each one of them cars.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was seeing. I'm like, damn, it's ill how we all got these different ways of vibrating, right? And through these vibrations, we able to pull from the ether everything that's happening, because a lot of this stuff is not in books. Yeah, we can read about, laws of attraction, what it is to have these senses, but where are we getting the practicality from? Us talking about it and living it and doing it and seeing how we can implement it in our everyday, and in turn rediscovering what it is to be teachers. You know what I mean? What it is to lay out a blueprint and walk it down, build that bitch. That's what I'm seeing. The way y'all was building, I was like, man, these brothers is like saying the same thing. It's just two different approaches.
Two different approaches, two different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's one way up the mountain.
Me and Falah build on that all the time. Approach is everything. Because I remember back in the day when me and my bro used to step out, my bro ready to snap. Anytime he felt slighted, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, bro, if you go and express that same thing, but just turn down that a little bit, watch the result. It's going to change. And my brother did it. And he came back and was like, man, would you believe all I did was this, this, and that, and I got top-notch premium service the rest of the night. I was like, just by changing your approach. You know what I'm saying? So I think we on to something heavy, and I think we should do it more.
Hey, absolutely, because you know, we still got somewhere to get to, and I'm looking for you know, I'd like to find a cheat code myself, man. You hear me? But absolutely, because you know, there's a floor, but there is no ceiling. And
Yeah,
we still, you know, we trying to get there, man. Wherever there is.
we getting there, bro.
I'm sure there's a there after that there.
Getting there.
Just continuous becoming.
One step at a
Yeah.
time. One step at a time, though.
You see what we're doing too? We changing all of these old notions because what they used to say, it take 40 years to master something, right?
40?
That's what they used to say. It take 40 years to master one trade or one skill.
Who is they?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're changing all of that.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
some of those same days say it takes 75 years to learn how to eat right.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, it's like, where are they getting all these notions from? How long have these things been around?
Yeah.
You know, are they valid in any type of way?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. That's
Yeah.
you know.
We know the ancestors agreed on everything in existence.
Yeah.
These different notions able to live as long as they live.
Yeah. That's why when the cells in the body do not want to serve the purpose of the body, they get eliminated and new ones come in to serve that purpose. So that's the same thing. Like if you once we as individuals stop serving our purpose, we eliminate it from existence.
Okay. So you know what? I wanted to where we got muscle memory at.
That's a sense of muscles right there.
Muscle memory, I would say a muscle memory would be the ability to know to suck when you're a baby.
Mama.
Intuitiveness.
I mean, hey, all of that applies. All of it
You can't
applies.
teach. How can you teach sucking? Like, I mean,
That's intuitive right there. That's instinctive.
okay, all right, I can see that's innate. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
that's one you definitely can't teach, though.
I'm just saying, man. And the reason what sent me there was Fala talking about the cellular level. I'm like,
yeah, man, we got to go there.
Muscle memory, man. That cellular, is it not?
Yeah, that deals with will a lot, though.
Okay.
The cells know what to do. They already got a program.
They got a program. Yep.
Yeah, they already know what they know what their purpose is.
Right. Okay. So cool. So you would say muscle memory is a little different, right? Not far.
I think scientifically, it might be a little different.
Because I think you can train your muscle to remember certain activities.
Absolutely, you can.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you absolutely can.
But let's go deeper. Can you?
Yeah, let's go deeper, man.
Can you program your cells to remember the memory of what you programmed in your muscles? I think you can, especially if that exercise is or not. When I say exercise, that means the act of sucking, right? That is a exercise of feeding. So now the importance of those muscles kicking in automatically is what the body's remembering for its survival and becoming. So it can pass that down. Like some people born and they already have genetically, they already have built bodies.
Is that a sense? Would you think that would be a sense?
I would say let me put it up here so because I just looked it up. You have what is muscle sense, and human muscle sense refers to the remarkable ability to perceive the position and movement of the body segment without visual aid. What is muscle sense important for. The previous two senses observe the body's boundaries, the body's internal state, and the space it takes. The sense of movement or of muscles enable you to perceive your body's movement and posture.
Mm-hmm. And
So
posture. Now, okay.
That's like training, ain't it?
Hey, it absolutely could be. Um,
I think you can train your body to have a sense of
we
memory.
know we can. Now
Yeah.
listen. Now okay, so
Oh.
follow me now. Follow me now. You
Yep.
got okay. So sense of muscle. Sense of muscle. Um, going off of a personal experience of having gotten to where I was out of shape, right? I'm about to get back in shape in one day, right? Go in there, go crazy, lift the whole gym, be hurt for the whole rest of the week, hurting. You're not even thinking about trying to exercise for the rest of the week at least, because your body is very, very sore. So your muscle cells or fibers are traumatized, right?
Yeah, I want to have an in-depth conversation about that.
Okay. Right now?
Right when you get done.
Okay, cool. Because hey, I'm just throwing this out here because it popped into my mind.
Yeah, through
See
repetition.
what I'm saying? I don't have an argument. I'm just saying, hey, let's look at this because I think we got something here, right? So go ahead, B.
Now go ahead and finish out.
I was pretty much there, man. That's what I was on. Like, man, he made me think of muscle memory. He was like cells, and I was like, muscle memory. How about the muscle memory? Is that would that be a sense? And he looked it up, sense of muscle. That is a sense. So then I thought about that, traumatizing your muscles. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what that is. Your muscles they done. They
So but I
suffered trauma.
wanted to,
They suffered trauma. Go
the
ahead.
thing that I wanted to kind of speak to was not so much the trauma, but looking at, let's go all the way back to why is your body hurting after you get finished working out? How much did you know of your body before you put
Right.
it in that strenuous workout?
Exactly. So now
Right.
you
So
have the opposite.
well, hold on, but did that workout tie in with purpose and responsibility? How so, right? Because
Yeah.
if that's part of your purpose, why would you put that much strain on your body to where you can't do nothing else for the rest of the week
Yeah.
without making the some type of preparation to be, able to do something if you needed to in those other days?
Okay. So yeah, that's what I was gonna say. On the other hand, I went in, worked out 15 minutes, 20 minutes, call it a day. Wasn't feeling it or, didn't have that much time, but still went and got it in. And then, you get that little pump, you worked out, you feel good, right?
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I'm just saying,
So now
going
you
back
so
to the
now you
bill.
now your muscles is looking forward to that. That
Yeah,
that that they can get with. Like,
yeah,
yeah, let's do that. Right? Let's do that. And then
because we know what. One thing we know for sure is that movement is medicine, right?
mm-hmm,
What
mm-hmm.
happens when you don't move? That rigor mortis sets in. You get stiff,
We
calcified,
thank you. Thank you, B. Thank
right?
you, B.
So now
So
that's why I was trying to speak to. It goes all the way back to purpose
yeah.
and responsibility. You know,
Okay, but and I'm tying in as many senses as possible to that,
yeah,
right?
right.
Sense of purpose. Now
Sense of being.
we talking about sense of, we talking about muscle sense, right? And that's scientific. That's tangible.
That's the first part to any movement, having some sort of understanding of your muscles,
Oh boy.
and your skeleton.
I
Oh
think
boy.
if I can add in, what I see is there's two senses that are a part of the situation. Muscle. We're using two words: muscle memory. Now, what I can understand about
Yeah,
muscle memory is that you can program the muscles through a certain repetitive motion, but
yeah,
there you have a sense of muscles and you have a sense of memory. Those are two. They're separated in that aspect because I believe
yeah,
muscle memory is something you can do. Like you can learn how to dribble the basketball and have it to where you don't. It's second nature. You don't have to think about it.
yeah,
But then you have the ability to move through various situations and know where your body fits and don't fit through the sense of how your muscles react. Then you also have your sense of memory, and I'm gonna look that up real quick just so I can give a clear definition of that.
because I was gonna
Oh,
remind you guys that
oh,
memory is not a part of your anatomy. It's outside of you.
Mm,
Don't forget
mm.
that part.
So how does that? So is the muscles memory outside of the muscle?
okay,
The
so here we
memory,
go right here.
you got to look at the memory versus the blood. That's two different things.
Uh,
The
sensory
blood carries
memory.
information by itself. Go ahead.
You said
Sensory
the blood
memories
carry.
are stored for a few seconds at most. They come from the five senses: hearing, vision. This is I'm not saying I agree with this, but I'm just reading it. Vision, touch, smell, and taste. They are stored only for as long as the senses is being stimulated. These are then reprocessed and associated with the memory that may store in your short-term memory. Let's go deeper
Mm.
And that's the book is telling you your memory is not a part of your anatomy.
because it's something that you have to continuously do repetitiously,
Stimulate,
like
right. You
program.
got to keep stimulating it for the memory to be there. Once you
Mm.
stop stimulating it, the memory is locked in. I can't think of the term, but it's right outside of
Here
you.
we go. Here we go. Let's add a
So
little bit more.
so 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 I'm tying in my sense of my muscle sense. I'm tying that into my sense of purpose because I'm wanting to use more command senses and command more from my environment. That's what I'm thinking. That's how I'm thinking right now.
Okay, so let me go a little bit deeper. Sense memory is a technique in which an actor draws on the memory of sensations from personal experiences to create a genuine response. And we also have
Makes
sense
perfect sense.
memory is used to refer to the recall of physical sensations surrounding emotional events. I'm just reading basic situations just to say, like, I think if you're using your muscles to work on a sense of health and it is done in a certain way that builds up your health, then
That's purpose.
you can actually increase your purpose because you're healthy and you can live exist longer to to reach your purpose. Where a person who doesn't use their muscles properly or their body, because it's really dealing with your sense of health, use your body properly, your muscles start to deteriorate, um, your health deteriorates, and you don't live long enough to reach your purpose. But even sometimes muscle memory doesn't necessarily equate to health. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a person who uh I would use myself. Like when I would smoke weed, I have a tendency to have hand to mouth, and that's muscle memory. So I will snack. You see what I'm saying? So that's muscle memory. But is that a sense? Is that something I can say that's a sense? I
Yeah.
don't
Are
I
you
don't
sure
know.
that that's what you're doing?
Um yeah, I'm pretty sure because there's even the act of Anything you do repetitiously builds a memory in the muscle.
Yeah, I'm saying that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, anything you do builds actually a sense. You know what I'm saying?
All right, check it out though. So I'm going somewhere with this. Like I said, I'm tying in muscle memory to with purpose. Okay. So we got one purpose to be your health, muscle memory towards your health. You got muscle memory towards many different things. Muscle memory towards whatever it is you do for as a trade, if it's physical, construction, barbers. This involves muscle memory and sense of purpose is tied into that, or as a matter of fact, it doesn't have to be. But when you do connect that to your sense of purpose, then you command it more. From
It depends on what there's useful information, and then there's useless information.
I mean,
The
you
memory,
command it more, you command it more.
well, if
It
you
could be,
command
it
more,
could be, it could be, you could be commanding more, bad
if
stuff
you're
that's not
commanding
good.
useless information, then how is that helping towards your becoming?
I mean, that's if you collecting useless information.
What I'm saying, how does that help towards your becoming? Like, say for instance,
How does what help towards your becoming?
let's say
That's
right here.
useless information.
Useless information.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. You're saying if you're a collector of useless information, yeah, it's helping you. But Falah is saying, how is that helping with your becoming by collecting useful information? I mean, useless information.
Let me also add more context,
It's
right?
not.
Let's say a person who
That's
plays
what he's saying.
basketball, they playing basketball, but how does that help towards their becoming? But a person who has the muscle memory of doing yoga, how does that help towards their becoming?
I wasn't speaking on becoming. I wasn't. I
I'm
didn't say
speaking
that.
on
I was saying
muscle memory. How does muscle memory help one to reach their purpose?
that's right. Their purpose. So
That's what
the
I'm saying.
point
How does
is,
that work?
yep, that's what I'm saying. Okay, practicing your shots. Professional ball players, they practice shots, drills. That's for the muscle memory. But that's for that purpose. That's to
The purpose of being a good ball player.
yeah,
But
exactly.
how does
So
that help towards the purpose of becoming?
I didn't.
What we're adding, what we're saying, like
never.
we're taking
Yeah,
it a step further. Say that everything that, like, correct me if I'm wrong, B, but we're saying that the things that we would want to do and focus on would be things that help us to our becoming.
absolutely. Things that help us to our becoming. I'm with you on that. But
Because
what
we
I'm
want to
saying
always
is,
give
I'm
momentum to
wanting to
humanity, right?
command. I'm wanting to command more from my environment through my muscle memory.
And so I'm saying, I'm thinking the only way you could do that is by doing more work.
Sound
Because
about
the
right.
environment,
That sound like a good way right there.
because the environment always produces more than what you need,
Okay.
but we like to think it's not enough to go around. But
Do more work.
yeah.
Do more work. So
But now let's look at what the work could be.
yeah, because we want to
Because muscle memory could be
becoming.
the ability to stay focused and filling out different paperwork and keeping your composure while doing, like multitasking.
Yeah.
It could be a form of muscle memory.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then
Absolutely.
we got to go back to how is that helping with, how is that giving humanity momentum? How is that helping us become a better community? How is that?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So now if that muscle memory ties into us navigating back to the original model step by step, okay, now you can see how that's kind of trying to lean towards helping our becoming, because now the baby's got a way that they can go, and they know if they go this way, when they come out on the other side, they're going to be something different, purposefully
I
better
see.
than what they were.
And that's where you get stuff like yoga. And I'm using yoga because yoga gives you an
Yoga is
intimate
beautiful.
understanding of the body all the way to a cellular level. It allows
Yeah.
you to tap into that lymphatic system. So there's exercises there's exercises and movement, shall we say, that can actually give us a more of a connection with our body, which helps us towards our becoming, versus some movements that just like like say I'm gonna use sex, right? Sex, you can be a person who likes to have sex and have muscle memory of how to have a certain gyration, but how does that help you? How does that help mankind grow? How does that help the
Absolutely.
humanity
Absolutely.
grow?
So
What I'm
yoga, that was a great that's a great example, to use in that situation. Boom. Because I remember saying on another conversation we was having, another build about how I think, how look at the yoga masters, look the yogis, they be super healthy. They live to be like, 100 plus, well into the hundreds, a lot of them. Easy.
To
Don't lift
me,
weights. They don't lift weights. They not athletic. They just flexible.
that example you just shared is someone getting the most from their environment.
Yep.
That's right. And then okay, you got yoga. Excellent.
Because you can take yoga and you can use it on many different platforms when it comes to your health. You can use it as a form of defense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Form of healing.
So what else we got? Yoga ain't it, is it?
Of course.
No.
What about Tai Chi? You know, something else like that.
Because it centers on circulation, breathing. And we know what the breathing does.
Mm-hmm.
Breathing kills a lot of the toxins that's in our body. Just proper breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say anything that helps us to have a homeostasis, deals with our sense of balance with the internal world, is
Keep the
good.
water still.
It's good for you. You know what I'm saying? Because anything that, like, I know some people that run, but then they get a certain age, their knees are bad, but they think they're healthy. There's certain people that do certain exercises that they give a presence of health, but then they die of heart attack. So, like, what does that look like? Sometimes, the people who work out the less live the longest. You know what I'm saying? So I think there has to be a certain balance of movement and non-movement, mental movement as well as physical movement, spiritual movement, emotional movement. I think there has to be like a balance of all those things in order
I
for.
think there does too. But I also I wanted to tie muscle memory into that. And I did with you guys' help.
Definitely.
And that was, that's a powerful bill right there, man. You know what I mean? Helped me out a lot. Because now, I know what I think I want to look forward to doing, what kind of memory I want my muscles to have, and to what end, right?
Right. That's why they say we should do rituals. Not rituals like in the form of some might think.
Mm-hmm.
Your workout is a ritual.
Yeah, absolutely.
Proper eating is a ritual.
Mm-hmm.
The way you interact with your family, take time out and build with your family, that's a ritual.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't look at it like that. We so
We don't, but we should, because that's
we look
dope.
at it like that's something we supposed to do. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so sometimes we're not all there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
be torn between the two because we feel like, man, I could be over here shooting some hoops, but I'm over here at the park with the babies babysitting because baby girl had to work a double tonight.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, because I think those doing things in that manner,
Regimen.
doing things in that manner kind of helps to enforce it into the next generation, right? Let's say, uh, like I look at my son now, my oldest son. When he was a kid, I was doing yoga a lot, and I was training in martial arts and stuff like that. And now it's like he kind of has that in him already, you know.
that's the
And
model. That's the model that he got. It's in there.
yeah, then you know, and he
You burned it in without burning it in.
yeah. So now my youngest son, he see us doing that, and we keep him around. And the other day when we went to work out, he came back and was like, "Man, when I work out, I feel powerful." So now we are creating that same memory in his muscle now. You know what I mean? So then you got the next generation. So I can see on that level of how you could use um, muscle memory as a way to kind of like keep your focus. But like even like for me with my children, we try to focus on the understanding of why we're doing these. So we're actually putting um, the psychology behind the movement, you know, in that way that they understand that the movement is important. The stagnation is where the water start to become poison, but the move when waters that are moving can constantly replenish and stay fresh. So that's one way you could use that as a concept to like really push for cleaning and the refreshing of like say the body. You know what I mean? Um, and exercises that deal with the various aspects of the body. Like in yoga, some exercises deal with the brain and internal working. Some breathing deal with the brain. So those are muscles too. They're internal. So like when you're dealing with all of that, I would say you could label that as you're trying to find a way to put that you know in a way that deals with your becoming. Like
Regimen.
in the
Regimen.
in the Kemetic culture, there's a God for everything, and no gods share the same space. So, uh, I'm saying that to say that each individual is like that. We can carry those aspects of the gods, even though we're not. But we can carry those aspects, and no one can fit in your shoes and understand what you understand. That takes us to another sense, which is your sense of genius. Only you can understand what is innately that you innately come with. And so each generation that comes beyond you will have a certain level of genius that was passed down through their predecessor.
Yeah, that genealogy.
Yeah, through their genealogy, your certain
No
level of
doubt.
genius. So, but like what we're cultivating now, you can see in our kids, you know what I'm saying? Where we were when we had those kids and conceived them, we can see them having a certain innate ability um as at a certain point where we were. So maybe that could be considered as muscle memory. I would even go further to say I always say genetic memory.
And I would say, okay, yeah, I would say too, um, you know, just drawing off the conversation, this evening's conversation, man. Regimen. Regimen is key, right? Establishing a regimen, you know, uh, a regimen geared towards your purpose, so on and so forth. And then, just on the strength of this conversation we had, you can ascertain what you command from that regimen, right? A sound regimen in that regard.
Yeah, I
Right?
can follow you
That
on that.
makes
'Cause once you start tapping into what you do on a cellular level,
that should give a lot of people a greater appreciation for a sound regimen like yoga. Uh, you know, um, or Tai Chi exercise, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, wanting to eat right, wanting to do more because you commanded more from your environment. So it's one thing, now we seeing it. We seeing it. We seeing it in use, right? How you commanded more from your environment through uh more uh more consciousness of senses, of, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was about to speak to. Because once you start to do that, you're gonna obviously have to tap into what's happening to you on the cellular level, what the blood is doing.
Hey now, right?
Got to.
And but when you do, and
Yeah,
I like to think I do, but I know I need to get better at doing it, and I
so
strive to
one of the
always
questions
strive
that
to
should,
get better.
in the process that should arise should be, how long do my blood cells live? How long? What's the lifespan of one blood cell?
Let me ask Google.
What's that like? And I'm pretty sure it's not that long.
Lifespan of a
Months,
blood cell.
like 4 months or something like that.
According to NCBI, human red blood cells, after differentiating from erythroblasts in the
You really okay. 115 days.
Yeah.
National Institutes of Health, 115 days. Frontiersn.org, 120 days. And Science Direct, 70 to 90 days.
Yeah.
Okay, so at least 3 months.
That's where now I can see what you were saying earlier, being while we were saying that in order to get muscle memory, you really have to you have to keep programming because the cells are going to constantly die off, and then many of the body that will remember that will remember
it's recorded, though. It's recorded.
It will remember that, and that's why sometimes it's hard for people to lose weight or to break certain physical curses and muscle memories of not working out, because the whole body is having a history of that. And that's going back to our innate the understanding the cellular world, the consciousness of the cellular world and being connected with it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how where, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, check it out though. So yeah, we talking about physical muscle memory of working out, exercise, maybe Tai Chi, yoga, blah blah blah. But what B said earlier, muscle memory of interacting with family, right? And I'm using muscle memory, figuratively, but we see how it ties in. It's the repetition, it's the regimen, it's the ritual, right?
What is the brain? The brain is a muscle.
Okay, there you go.
We talking about muscle memory.
Yeah,
the brain is a muscle.
Brain's a muscle. So okay, there's a muscle memory.
Like you can work your shoulder muscles, you can work your jaw muscles, you can work your brain muscle.
Word. No doubt.
We so busy being distracted with everything that's happening outside of us. What about what's happening within us? Like I was saying earlier, what's your dinner dreams doing? What's that looking like?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that? I mean, how many of us can talk about that? Like that's not we talk about regular. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But we should be able to.
We should. We're supposed to.
We scientists, right?
Yeah.
Look, listen, observe, and respect, right?
Yeah.
Come on, man. I mean, we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of in place.
Absolutely. So we got a lot of work to do, and we want to establish that work so that we can establish that regimen and establish that muscle memory, right?
Yes, sir.
And we doing it.
Stimulating it. Yes, sir.
We're gonna get to it. Man, it's a good build, man. Great build, brothers.
No doubt. Yeah, it's getting that time where to kind of shut it down and get ready for the next day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know how we can go.
Yeah.
Glad I made it back, man. Yeah, great, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful brothers. Another one.
Word.
Yep. All right, fellas. So we catch up. You know, I want to try to do it, get on a regular basis. So we want to try to like hit this
Regiment.
a couple of times a week. You know what I'm saying?
Get a regiment.
Yeah, that's a workout regimen for our brain right there.
Consistent.
I like it.
Push the
Do it.
limit on our conversation like we have been doing, because you know this is a next level right here to get us to focus on more aspects of the body. Now, one thing that I would say that I would definitely get out of this is understanding the body more, understanding the cellular world, understanding what it needs and what it asks for when I'm hungry, and what it needs when I need to work out, and you know what type of thought patterns I need to focus on, and readings I need to do, so I can really cultivate those other side of myself. Because I spent a lot of time focusing on certain aspects of me that certain other aspects that I never knew about kind of atrophied. So I got to go through the pain of building those things up again. And so, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Hey man, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey man, just give you on getting stuff done, man. On commanding more. Yeah. I'm not
That's the law of manifestation right there. You got to know the law. You know what I'm saying? Just
yeah. Good.
like for
Yeah.
example, what is luck, right? when something happened and you just got it by chance. Ooh, you was lucky, boy. Or you know what I'm saying? What is that, right? Luck is basically a law that you just don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's all luck is. It's a law that took place that you know what I'm saying, you got the best of or whatever at that time and space that you don't know the meaning. You don't know what law that was. So we need to look into, you know what I'm saying? Some people will say luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's, you know, a matter of approach and opinion, but I think that's a bill that we can get into because it deals with the laws of attraction, the laws of manifestation. All of those laws need to be known. You know, it ties into us on a cellular level.
Yeah.
Conscious, what the subconscious is calling for, a lot of times it gets. You know what I'm saying? You're like, man, like, why do I keep having this bad luck? Yes, what you in agreement to. All of these things tie in, you know what I'm saying? We need to know these things backwards and forwards. So I'll come and that could be our build on the side. Just going over the law. You know what I'm saying? I got them all wrote down. Go over them and commit
Yeah,
them.
that subconscious take work, man, and that muscle memory to master the muscle memory required to master something. When you master something, it's absolutely subconscious.
Yeah,
you can do it subconsciously.
Yeah, it's like chess.
All right.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, I'm gonna stop.
Word.
Yeah, good stuff, bro.
For sure. Love this, guys. I love this.
Yeah.
Boot.
All right, fellas.
All right. Tommy Max out.
Tommy Max, Mr. Butters. I love my bros.
Word up. Long live the brotherhood.
Word.
Peace.
Peace.